Welcome back to the channel, man. Norris here. I got another album review. Hopefully everyone's doing good out there. I got another episode. I'm gonna go through another album. I'm gonna go through each track and I'm gonna give you guys my perspective of how I feel about the album. I'm gonna give you guys a rating, just like I did with the last 4 that I did, how it made me feel, and just kind of like give you guys my thoughts about the whole project. Yeah, man, we got another album here. I'm gonna do Pinball by Mike. I think his name's Tony Seltzer. I could be saying his last name wrong. Tony Seltzer. Mike and Tony Seltzer, new album, Pinball. I heard the album before making the video, of course, just like I said in the previous episodes. I think it's important to let you guys know that this isn't the first time I'm going through the album with you guys. So it's not like I'm only hearing like 2 minutes of like a couple of songs. I heard the whole album, thought about a lot of different things about it, but we're gonna go through what I really feel about it. Before we get into the part where I'm breaking down the album, I'm gonna play a couple of tracks, maybe like 5 tracks I'll play in like 10 seconds of it. It's available on YouTube, and I think you gotta go on Spotify to listen to the full album if you want. I'm not sure if it's on, I don't think it's on SoundCloud. So if you want to listen to it fully, of course you gotta purchase it wherever you can, or go onto Spotify, give it a listen. But I'm gonna give you guys my full observation of like how I feel about the album, give it a rating. That's basically it. So let's jump right into it, man. Let's go. The first track's called Two Door.
Son, I wish a nigga would. I keep bigs, I have my car brothers and pay flash on my foot. I want big ice like in gun, beefing like I'm shook. I spend big time at LaGuardia, be sneaking in the good.
Alright, this one's a R&B.
I like sexy, I was dancing, I hop out the whip. She wanna give me it's like ransom, I got a lot of shit. I threw confetti on this dance.
Yeah, so this one's R&B.
She sounds sneaky like.
Alright, this one's Pinball. It's the song Pinball.
I can do a cut, guess I need a cut. I don't know about trust, but really I love you. Be my seven, stay in touch, make the river touch. Bro, I had why you blood, think I seen enough. We gon' catch you in that cut, but we keep it settled. But my partner saying, that just being stuck. And my papa house because he really the hustle.
This one's 100 Jacks.
Thumbing through another spread, puffin' strength, 100 reps, coming twos, nothing less, coming 200 gas, 100 blues, nothing cat, nothing new, up and blessed, when we screw, stuck in stress, can't lose, sudden death, done the boom, my summer red, coming loose, cut a check, introduce.
This one's On God. It's featuring Earl Sweatshirt, which is sick.
That's what I'm gonna check. Okay, have a good day. You know I'm on, no, I drive. I cannot tell this all you pocket. I'm really right when I saw the pocket. Ain't on the top, but it's all the now.
And this is Reminiscent.
Oh, seeker, I'm niggas deep. Turn to a creature, shit get the jump. She think I'm unique. Call me a freak. When I be beating, and shit get the bus. They see me eating, niggas disgusted. Trust if he see me, he fleeing, he running. That's how good shit.
So that was just like a snippet, a few of the tracks to give you guys an idea of how the album might sound like. Definitely suggest you go out, purchase the album, or find it through Spotify. However you find your albums, definitely give this a listen. It deserves a listen, that's for sure. Before I get into my observation of the album, just want to give like my history behind how I even know who Mike is. This Tony I can't say his name. Seltzer? Is it Seltzer? Seltzer. Comment below if I'm saying his name right. I don't think I'm saying his name right. Tony Seltzer, yeah. I never heard of him. I think he's the producer of the whole album, and I think the beats are pretty sick, so you know what I mean? Like, it's a cool name to know now, so you'll probably see his name pop up a lot more later on. I know Mike through Earl Sweatshirt. And like, that's probably how a lot of people found out about Mike. Mike was basically like kind of like Earl Sweatshirt's prodigy in a sense. Earl Sweatshirt, he got all that fame from Odd Future and Tyler the Creator, all those, you know what I mean, Odd Future days. Earl Sweatshirt ended up carving out a solo career out of that, and then you can almost look at Mike kind of doing the same thing sort of, but like Earl's like a solo act, right? So it's not really the same thing, but it could be like a homie of his from like way back in the day, kind of like waiting for him to pop off, and then he has his opportunity to kind of shine himself. So it's kind of one of those stories. Honestly, like, I always thought Mike was pretty sick. The only thing about him, I always thought he sounded too much like Earl Sweatshirt, and I think a lot of people have the same issue with him. And another thing I like that really like irritates me about Mike, bro, because I think he's definitely one of the best like lyrical spitters out of the younger generation, especially like all of these like young rappers that are like popping off. I think he's more lyrical than like most of them. The only thing that like bothers me about his style, I don't like how he mumbles a lot when he raps, bro. Not actually mumbling, but like he doesn't like fully pronounce the words when he's rapping. And like, yo, I've had this problem for like many years myself. Even to this day, there's a lot of tracks where you hear me rapping and you can't understand some of the words. Like even myself, when I'm listening back to some of the songs, if I'm like rehearsing them or something, I'm like, yo, I could have done that part like way better than what I left it as. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if Mike does this on purpose to make his whole style and how he sounds on a mic like different, distinctive compared to like other rappers, especially because a lot of people compare him to Earl Sweatshirt in terms of like how they sound, right? They kind of use that same pace and same like syllable pattern, and just their voice kind of sounds the same too. Maybe he does that purposely to kind of like separate his style from Earl's. That could very much be it, because this is something I hear like in all of his songs. Like it's like his style, like whenever he raps, it's like he tries to go through the verse too quickly instead of making sure he pronounces each word like proper, because the only problem with that, this is like a thing that other people told me about my own music, you know what I mean, in terms of like pronouncing each word properly and making sure the grammar is correct and like making sure just everything makes sense. Because when people are listening to it, they don't understand what you're saying because the grammar is off. It doesn't matter how good the music is, like they're not going to understand the concepts and the messages that you're trying to bring across, and they'll end up just like getting down with the beat, I guess, right? That's my whole thing about Mike, though. Like the one thing that like always bothered me about him and why I never really like got on to his music is like he just mumbles a little bit too much, bro. Like you're too good to be doing that. Like you got something to say, like, you know what I'm saying? You got to make that clear, bro. Because then I feel like he'd be a better rapper if that was the case. Getting that out of the way, you know what I mean? That's the one thing I always wanted to say about Mike, man. This album was actually pretty sick, man. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. Like, just like I was saying about Tony Seltzer, Seltzer. I cannot say his last name, but the beats are proper, bro. I think the beats are really good on this. It's a new producer I've never heard of, so it's pretty cool to hear a fresh new producer's beats that I've never heard of, and it's just new concepts being introduced, you know. I'm getting a lot of vibes like that from this album. Kind of has like an experimental vibe to it, keeping it hip-hop. The beats sort of an experimental vibe to it, some of them, you know what I mean. The way some of the beats are arranged has kind of like a experimental element. Definitely. I don't know, I thought it was pretty dope, man. It's not like the best thing I've ever heard, but it's not beating anything Earl will put out. Like, you know what I mean? See, the thing is, like, I think he's a really dope rapper. He's very poetic when he raps. He doesn't really copy too much. Besides, outside of what Earl does, he doesn't really copy too much. He kind of has like his own like style in his own zone, and he kind of just sticks with it. Talks a lot of street stuff, like a lot of rappers, but he knows how to like turn a lot of those ideas and switch them up in ways where it makes you think a little differently, compared to like a rapper like, I don't know, like Gucci Mane. You know what I mean? When you listen to Gucci Mane rap, he kind of gives you what you expect. You know what I'm saying? With Mike's music, you don't really get what you expect, which is not easy to do. Especially when you're purposely trying to make it like that. So he did a really good job at that. He's a lyricist too. If you really take in his lyrics and the bars that he's given, just like I said, bro, if he's not mumbling a lot of the lines that he'll drop and everything was just completely clear, like, yo, it would be a competition of like who's better, Earl or Mike. I'm being dead serious about that. And I think he'd be a lot bigger of a rapper if you take in his lyrics, bro. Like, he's got some bars, bro. Like, he's spitting, bro. He's one of those rappers that really spits, man. Like, you know what I mean? If you were to read his verses like on paper, you can definitely tell that he's a lyricist. You know what I mean? Like, he has a lot of great punchlines, a lot of great metaphors and similes. Very smartly handled throughout the beats. He really understands what flows to go with which beat that he's given. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of the beats throughout the album are very different compared to each other. That's another thing I liked from the Tony producer guy, Tony Seltzer. This guy is a great producer, bro. Like, he did a really good job at each beat, and he did a good job at making each beat different too. So, like, that's one thing I respect from this project. And I think Mike, he did a really good job at switching his flow based off of the beat that he was given. So that's another thing that I really liked about the album. I like the length of the album too. That's a weird like part to like talk about. I don't normally say that in like my other videos that I've put out. The length of songs that he has, I think it works perfectly. I feel like it's not too many songs and it's not too little. You know what I mean? It doesn't seem like he has a bunch of filler songs in there. Maybe he had like 5 songs that he really liked. 5 songs isn't long enough to make a project or an album. So he slapped on a bunch of like 6 other songs that were like tossaways. It doesn't give me that type of vibe, bro. It really seems like each song was like was taken care of, and like they really like put effort into it, like put it together each song, and they got themselves a full project. You know what I mean? Like, it gives me that type of vibe. I like the album cover, the name of the album, the metaphor of what the name of the album represents. The cover art's sick. I like the names of the songs. They're pretty distinctive. You know, R&B as like a name of a song, bro. Like, who thinks of that? Skr. You know what I mean? That's kind of jokes for a song, a name of a song. I like how this guy's mind works in terms of like putting albums together. Very artsy mind for the music that he's making. So that's one thing I respect. Yeah, man, like it's nothing too disappointing about this album, bro. The only thing I'll probably say is the whole mumbling thing, like I was explaining earlier, and it's not even on this album. It's like every Mike song that you have ever heard, he kind of does the same thing. Maybe it's just the way he talks and the way he raps, he can't control it. I think some people will miss lines from some songs because of it, and they're not getting the full impact of the bar that he's trying to deliver because he's not pronouncing every word properly. You know what I'm saying? And it's not super important, but it's like, bro, it's pretty bad sometimes with this guy, bro. Like, it's just he has to take his time on some of his verses, bro. But maybe that's just my opinion. I don't know. Like, comment below, let me know if you guys feel the same way. But besides that, oh, and another thing too, I feel like he tries to sound too much like Earl a little bit. That's another thing too. And Earl could be his mentor, hero, or whatever, but I think he sounds far too much like Earl. That's another thing that kind of bothers me about his style. Especially when he's getting like lyrical with his verses. Like, it just reminds me too much like Earl. Like, he's like, oh, I want to sound like this guy, and then he writes his verse. Like, besides that though, besides those 2 things, I'm pretty impressed with this album, man. It's better than I thought it was gonna be. That's for sure. And I think it's gonna resonate with the hip-hop world as time goes by. I think it's gonna grow on a lot of people, get better and better and better as time goes. So I'll definitely give it that. In terms of ratings, I'm gonna give it a 7.5 out of 10. I was originally like a little bit lower. Listening to the songs like again while I was making this video kind of reminded me like this album's actually pretty good, man. And Mike's a great rapper, you know what I mean? But just those 2 things is probably why I brought the rating lower. Otherwise it would probably be closer to like an 8, maybe around a 9, but I'll say 7.5. I feel like it's a fair rating for this album. I guess that's all I gotta say about this one. So comment, like, share, of course. If you guys are liking these album reviews, man, like, subscribe, comment, share. Got more album reviews to come. Next song coming up, I got Camaro. That's set for the 14th of March, so get ready for that song. It'll be up on all platforms. It'll be up on my YouTube channel 12 o'clock a.m. on the dot, March 14th. So if you're subscribed to the channel, you'll easily get it. Plenty more music for the future. Also, new mixtape coming out, The Internet. That's set for May 14th. April 20th if you want to purchase it and listen to it earlier before everyone else. But then May 14th will be the official date. It'll be available everywhere, so look out for that. Once again, I'm Looper Norris. Thanks again for watching. I really appreciate you guys. I'll be back with some more videos, man. Make sure you subscribe, bro.